You're listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. The show that gives pastors and church leaders the clarity they need to protect their people, property, and ministry.
Welcome back to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. I'm your host, Ron Wadley with Insurance for Texans. We help pastors and church leaders protect their people, property, and purpose with clarity and confidence. We're continuing our series, Answers to Questions You Might Be Too Afraid to Ask About Your Church's Insurance. And today's question is one we hear often, especially from churches with older buildings. Is functional replacement cost bad for my church insurance policy? If you've seen those words on your policy or quote and weren't sure what they meant, this episode will clear that up. We recently helped a historic Central Texas church that had been around for more than a century. Beautiful stained glass, carved wooden pews, and stone walls that had seen generations of worship. When their insurance company decided not to renew their policy, they started shopping for new coverage. That's when they noticed a new phrase on the quote, functional replacement cost. No one knew what it meant. Would the church still be protected? Could they rebuild with the same historic materials? That question led them to us, and it's a question every church should understand. Functional replacement cost means your insurance company will rebuild or repair your property using modern materials that serve the same function, not necessarily the same appearance. So instead of restoring hand-carved pews, you might get mass-produced ones. Instead of plaster walls, you'd get drywall. Your church would be usable again, just not identical to what was lost. For churches with unique architecture or historical value, that difference matters. Insurance companies offer this type of coverage to keep premiums affordable. Rebuilding a historic church with authentic materials can be incredibly expensive. Functional replacement cost lowers that expense for both the insurer and the church. For many congregations, that trade-off makes sense. Lower premiums now with a simpler rebuild later. But it's important to know what you're giving up in the process. Functional replacement cost isn't bad, but it's different from full replacement or historic restoration coverage. You might lose historic details. Things like stained glass, hand-carved woodwork, or bell towers may not be replaced at all, or only up to a small sublimit. You will also lose original craftsmanship. You'll get a functional building, but not necessarily a historically accurate one. And lastly, building codes can affect rebuilding costs. Older churches must meet modern building codes after damage, but functional replacement policies often won't cover those added costs. That Central Texas church discovered a sublimit on stained glass, meaning their beautiful windows wouldn't be fully restored if a storm destroyed them. A policy with functional replacement cost isn't always bad. It can make financial sense. Even that 100-year-old church decided to keep functional replacement cost coverage because it kept their premiums manageable. But they added endorsements for key features, their stained glass and wooden entry doors, to preserve the things that mattered most to them. With the right help, you can balance affordability with protection. If you're unsure what kind of coverage your church has, ask one of our expert church insurance agents to review your policy. At Insurance for Texans, we help churches across the state understand exactly what their policy says. Through our True Texas Church Insurance Program, we explain the difference between functional replacement, full replacement, and historic restoration coverage, so you can make a confident, informed decision. So back to our original question, is functional replacement cost bad for your church? Not necessarily. It's just a trade-off. Lower premiums today may mean a different looking church tomorrow. Let us take the stress out of your church's next insurance renewal. Visit insurancefortexans.com and our church insurance team will review your policy. We will find the gaps and offer solutions to help you protect your church's history and its future. And don't forget to get a copy of our book, The Promise of Certainty, at thepromiseofcertainty.com. It is meant to guide you in all of your church's insurance decisions. I'm Ron Wadley, and this has been Faith Stewardship and Insurance, protecting Texas churches. Until next time, remember, knowing what's written in your policy is the best way to preserve your ministry for years to come.
Thanks for listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance. Until next time, remember, insurance isn't just about policies. It's about safeguarding the mission God has called you to lead.